welcome to the Geeks 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
And this is Steve.
And tonight we're reviewing a new movie, Shudder exclusive from 2024, Arcadian. A father and his twin teenage sons survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world. Is this the end of the world? We'll have to talk about that because I'm very confused. Arcadian stars not a lot of people. Nic Cage, Jaden Martell, Maxwell.
COVID movie. Feels like it.
I was about to. I tried to look it up. I didn't know if it was. Maxwell Jenkins, Sadie Sorval, and some others that had very minor parts in it. But
it rolls.
Directed by Benjamin Brewer and written by Mike Nealon, who I believe is Nic Cage's partner and agent. So shocking why Nic Cage is in here. So Steve, you picked Arcadian.
I did.
I know you talked about it. I don't remember you talking about it. I remember you talking about a monster movie that you saw a trailer for with Nic Cage. I thought this was a different movie because there's another movie that came out. We're recording this early for those that don't know.
We'll be reviewing Long Legs.
Long Legs is came out this week. And that's what I thought we were going to watch. And then I'm looking up movies and I'm like, no, that's not it. And then, I'm like, it's a monster movie. And then I found it finally. And so, Steve, what did you think of Arcadian?
So, horror spans many, many subgenres. Horror is a blanketing kind of statement. One of my favorite subgenres is creature features. Now, creature features run the gamut of being really, really, really good and really, really, really bad. And there's lots of subgenres within the creature features. Lately, alien monsters seem to be the toast of the town. And I don't know if necessarily this movie is alien monsters. They do kind of feel that way. You don't really see them crashing from space. But I do love a good creature feature. Now, this movie promised to have some crazy monsters. And I do think that it delivered. I don't know if we necessarily got enough. I think we got enough of the monsters, right? Like they're used very sparingly in the beginning, but at the end, all bets are off. You see them in full. You see them all.
And we see some weird scenes, and we'll get to them.
We'll get to
talk about them in spoilers.
But what I mean by we don't get enough is we don't really get enough of what they are. What they don't like the light. They only come out at dark, so that's cool. We get that. But, that's it. We don't even really understand, what their abilities are, what they do. Every scene towards the end, they kind of start doing new shit. And you're like, God damn, they can do that too. So it's just kind of all over the place. But that doesn't terribly bother me because these people don't know what the fuck's going on either, if you were there, and nobody was telling you, you'd be like, God damn, they could do that too. So, I thought the kids did pretty good. I liked that the movie, it felt kind of indie, it had, you take some umbrage with the shaky cam, but even the film was pretty grainy. But I thought that helped with the monsters. I thought the sound was pretty good. I like the score, nice piano, soft score to add to the scary parts. I like when they do that, when they juxtapose really horrific shit with soft, sad music. So overall, I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it. Good creature feature. I would rate this, before we get into spoilers and talk about stuff, a high sidekick. But just barely breaking into the high sidekick. Just barely. Because the monsters do some cool shit. So
I can see that. But my problem is I didn't like the monster designs. I thought it was very... When you see them attack, very weirdly cartoony. And that really threw me off from...
It was unsettling.
From being scared by them to being like, what the hell is going on here? Why was this choice made?
I know what you're talking about exactly. It's the chattering teeth.
Yeah. And it's like...
The sound that it makes is so robotic and not natural sounding, but
right, you can.
It sounds like a gun almost.
You can get teeth. Yeah, you can get teeth shattering and make that crazy. but they weirdly we'll get to it more in spoilers, but weirdly sped up the camera to make it look really awkward.
It was it just was unsettling to me.
Low budget
effect.
Low budget, got some, probably had to do something with the effects. Maybe the effects that they tried to do didn't work, so by speeding up that scene and editing made it make more sense. I don't know. I just didn't care for that. I liked the kid from It better than his brother. The brother annoyed the shit out of me.
The brother is the brother is the MacGuffin. He's the plot device that moves the story forward. Because if it was just the kid from It and Nicolas Cage, they'd be fine. But it's this other brother that starts all the shit.
Well, you're right. He is the plot device, and it is the reason why. But also, like, I don't know. It's just something about him just bothered me. This other farm thing, like even like the world that we're in didn't make a whole lot of sense, especially because it's like, yeah, you're going to help on this farm and you're doing this stuff, but like, then why aren't like you guys all working together? Like, there's got to be something there. It's fine that they didn't have to go into that detail. It was just a bizarre situation, and maybe it was because of the middle of the story why they did what they did, but whatever. I'm at a sidekick. The opening, every time they were outside.
Spoilers.
I was going too into depth. You're on mute. I was going too in depth in my review, so I'm glad you called it out.
I was just waiting for your rating, man. Just waiting for the rating.
So the shaky cam was pissing me off because in the beginning, there's an opening sequence which is it's pre 15 years where Nicolas Cage is there's something going on. We don't know what's happening. He's running, he's hiding. You see missiles going off in the background. It's like a war zone, right?
You hear the sirens, the air raid sirens. People are screaming. Yeah. There's gunfire. He's like trucking through this back alleyway, and that's the shaky cam. The guy, whoever's holding the camera, is running behind it. So it's just like,
yeah. And I get that, but there's got to be stabilization, man. Like, I get you want to be, the cameras are.
This is a low, but this movie costs like.
Your iPhone stabilizes.
What was the budget?
I don't know. I was trying to look it up. I know it was released in the box office and it made less than $1 million. So I guess it's
exclusive.
Imagine. Well, I mean, they did release it in I think in Canada and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to take the box office results. It was made for a streaming service.
Well, I know. I was trying to look for the cause, and I'm not finding it.
No budget. Okay. Well, it was low.
Yeah, but again. Your iPhones have stabilization.
I think that they did a good job here in the opening. I understand your gripes with the shaky cam. They could have fixed that up.
Well, it's because
I liked the shot of him standing back, looking at the destroyed city. That real still shot, and he starts walking. I thought that was great.
But that was exactly it. Felt like I was in two different movies, right? Because like when I'm watching the shaky cam and everything, it's like I'm watching a POV found footage type movie where it's like you're expecting that, okay, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna give me the real world stuff. But then you go into these still shots, these far scenes. It seems like it's a painted background that he was walking across the scene, which I love because it was like, you know what? I understand the low budget. I understand this. But you're giving me this. You're not giving me the shaky cam.
And then we can go away from this. Now we never go back to a city again. We're never even close.
We're in this farmhouse.
We're in the farm for the rest of the movie, and it's fine.
But they do the shaky cam again whenever they're outside.
Oh, I think whenever it's hectic, it's their style, it's their way, and I get it. You don't like it.
I don't like it.
That's why we don't. That's why we don't review very many found footage movies.
Nope. But it took me out. Like it took me to a point of I was really contemplating like stopping the movie. Like it bothered me because it's like
I didn't even notice.
I don't know. I don't know what this director was doing. If this was some kind of, again, I think I talked about it in another movie, like, art house
I don't know. I
like,
think it worked for me. I was always trying to like look around where, and I get that like sometimes that I don't know, man. Maybe it's like I like the monsters more than you. Maybe I was just into the story more or whatever. I don't know what it was, but like the shaky cam didn't have a negative effect on my viewing experience. So,
understood.
but
Um,
he leaves the city. He's got these two babies.
yeah,
They're crying. So
He finds two
no,
babies randomly abandoned.
I don't think he finds them. I think they're his.
No, he finds them. They're not his.
Oh, they're not his. You're right. Damn it. Yes.
He found them. He adopted them. They're his.
Well,
they're his now.
Adopted, quote unquote.
Right. Found and saved, but yeah, I mean they're his kids now.
So fast forward 15 years, they live in this house, this big farm, and they have to be in by night because the monsters are going to come. And the one brother's already at home. Kid from It,
yeah,
Martel, he's already at the house, and they're waiting for the other brother who's running and looking at the sun. And you're like, and it would be like that. You would have that one fucking kid who nothing bad has happened, so he's pushing the fucking issue.
Yeah. And
then he jumps over that little ravine thing, and like
a
rock fell in, and I was like, well, he's going in there in like a day or two. Yep. Like you saw that coming.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. Like I felt like this was all telegraphed, right? We knew there's a girl over at the farm. I knew it.
but almost every movie is telegraphed in some way. Like
not so where it felt like
we've seen too many. None of it surprises us anymore.
Like we just A Quiet Place has been out several times. Like we've seen this,
there's people out there that don't watch movies like we do. You know that. Like I was out thrifting today. Looking at VHSs. There was a lady buying some as well. She grabbed Gladiator. She said, "Ooh, that's a heavy movie right there. I haven't been able to finish that."
Wow. Okay.
So people out there, shit like this, they wouldn't see coming. They'd be like, I guess wow. Like we have seen too much. We have been desensitized. We see everything coming. We know all the fucking story. That's why when something surprises us, we get over the fucking moon because it's like, oh my God. But we have to get off of our fucking.
You're right.
We have to get off of our.
I guess because I do really like Nicolas Cage, even though he's been in some really, really bad movies, especially lately. Like I don't know what he's doing, man. Like I thought he got out of his debt. Like why is he still making some really bad movies? Like, did you watch that Reinhardt movie?
Renfield.
Sorry, yes, Renfield. I try to watch it. Oh my god. Awful.
It's a topic for off the air, but I'm having my own issues with just movies in general. Like,
it's why I think it's why like lately my expectations have just been down. Like I want to just like
we came here to review Arcadian, but now we're talking about our existential crisis with.
It's true of movies. But that's where I went with this. I was trying to like lower my expectations. There's this scene where we don't need to talk about Thomas and his girlfriend are talking about like what happened, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I like this scene. And they both had two different stories of how they got to the point they're in 15 years later, right? And one was like bugs taking over. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because then at the same time we're seeing Joseph, who's going and doing like a scavenger. He's scavenging, right? Like this old like ship or something. I couldn't tell what it was. So he's looking for stuff, and like he's been like, it feels like he's been overtaken by bugs. Like there's these giant cockroach things that are just like attacking him, and that was the scene. I was like, oh my god, like what is happening? Like I thought he was going to be infected, all this other stuff. I was like, oh, maybe these things did turn from humans into these creatures. I'm like, that would be really kind of cool, because then it went back to the beginning when the monsters tried to break in the house the first time, when we got our first kind of interaction with the monsters. And all it was a banging door. And
well, I think
the next day, Nicolas Cage cleaned the door, like moved this thing, and you saw all these same kind of bugs. And I'm like, oh.
I think definitely they are transformed people.
Right, because we get the nails and the hands, but it's
well, you also get that one scene where we'll get to it at the end, but you can see it kind of one transforming. So
yeah, but I didn't know what it was transforming.
I don't know what it was doing either, but like I have my thoughts on it. But I definitely think they were that people. I don't think that they were aliens, or I think that they were. It's a thing that happens that changes people into whatever the fuck these are.
Because I can't remember now the boy story, because that was the girl story.
It was robots or some shit.
Yeah, and then he started talking. I'm like,
but then he started talking about the robots. You're like, oh, okay, so they're just bullshitting.
Yeah, and that's what I was really into that scene, and then all of a sudden, like when he started going off, I'm like,
well, see, that was good, but then it's like it's one of those things that's cool, but then you realize like, oh, so none of this is real, so we wasted.
Yes,
10 minutes.
More time. It felt like a lot of wasted time scene.
Well, so then the brother's got to go back. He's running back home. He's running late. Trips and falls. Goes in the fucking crack. Nicolas Cage has to go out and find him. The monsters are like in that fucking crack with him, like already. Wild that they didn't just like rip him apart already. But Nicolas Cage gets there and like I thought this was all good stuff. Like pretty good in here. All this was really tense and
the nasty nails. Like this, I did like this scene.
This scene was great, and juxtaposed with the It Boy at the house playing possum, and you got that monster hand that reaches in and like just keeps getting longer, like it keeps, and then like the hand, like the arm just kept unfolding, and then the finger went out and the nail just kept getting longer and longer. I mean, it was right in his face. That shit was crazy. And that was good stuff.
Here's I found my problem with this scene. This movie. I hate the other brother, and it's not because of his actions, right? Because he is the MacGuffin. I didn't like the actor. I just didn't think he didn't come off well to me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. But Martel played it. He played it. He was quiet and just very subdued and like.
Right.
He was like, but he was also like, while he was quiet and meek, he was setting traps to trap this motherfucker. He's killing them. He's fucking. You know what I mean? He's building a car. He's doing all this shit
too, right? You can see his brain, and like that's when they had their argument about like, well, why were you writing it down? Why didn't you come and help me and Dad? You know, barricade the door. And he's like, because I was taking notes. And you saw Nicolas Cage's reaction to that. He's like, oh, I like that shit. He's like, because you're figuring out what the hell's going on, because these creatures, whatever they are probably smarter than just savage beings, right? And we find out that they are.
Oh yeah. And but my problem with these movies like this, like with creatures like this, right? Like it's like with The Quiet Place and stuff, is like I get like they'll hit you and they attack and blah 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 blah, but like they're dumb. They're dumb creatures. Even the Quiet Place ones, like yeah, they'll get you if they make noise, but also they can't swim.
Yeah.
So like, you're solid.
You're
solid. Like so, all of our navy is
covered in water.
So all of our navy's cool, right? We're all good. Great. So we're all good. Like, yeah, people are gonna get fucked up. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's, you know, but like, it's not gonna be the end of the fucking world years and years and years later with these monsters running around. No. Like, I mean, maybe it will be. Maybe there'll be like pockets, like the military hasn't been able to push in far enough to get to some of these people. So maybe I could see that, maybe. But I just feel like sometimes it feels like there's just nothing out there, and you're like, how? Especially like these creatures. I'm like, just that one kid killed that one creature with a baseball bat. So I have a good feeling that with the proper amount of guns and explosives and fire and shit, we could probably, if blunt force trauma does the trick, everything else should do the trick too.
Right. It's not like they have this crazy armor and shit that they're impenetrable to our weapons, right? That's what you assume when you see that scene in the opening with the military fighting this. You see bombs going off and shit in the background and Nicolas Cage getting away. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, these things are going to be fucking unstoppable, right? But they beat him with a hammer. They beat him with the thing. They beat him with a baseball bat. They killed a whole ton of them.
What these monsters do. Okay, so Nicolas Cage and the brothers survive the night in the crack. They get out.
No,
except Nicolas Cage gets all fucked up. He survives.
He blows his ass up. He survives.
He survives the night, but yes, he sacrifices himself with a big explosion to rid themselves of monsters in the crack. The other brother Mattel finds him, takes him back to the house. Then they're like, they want to go to the girlfriend's farm, right? They've got to go to the girlfriend's farm. The girlfriend's farm is hella shady. Her parents are like, only you can stay, to the shitty brother, and makes Martell and Nicolas Cage go back home alone. That was fucked up. And the brother stayed. He stayed to steal the medicine, but he stayed.
Well, he stayed, yeah, to steal medicine. But also, I think he was kind of torn, right? I think, he wanted to stay. He saw the medicine. It's like, I gotta go back. It's my fault, which it fucking clearly is.
It was.
But
either way,
you're right.
Then it gets weird. Then he gets caught stealing the medicine, but he doesn't really steal it. The girl gives it to him, and then they get all deliverance on him, they tie him up in the barn, and they're playing weird music. You're like, what the fuck is going on right now? He's got his shirt off.
It was like we're in a whole different movie. I know. I didn't like this part.
But
the only reason I like this,
the monsters attack, and the monsters attacking regardless. If you just take this for what it is, and you don't think too much about why are they doing this or all this, it's pretty incredible the shit that they do. They come rolling in in a big giant ball, like a big snowball of monsters. They're just, just rolling.
What is that? What is that called? A rat? What is that rat? Was it Rat King? Where they
the Rat King. Yeah, they're all tied together. They're all knotted together, rolling in this big ball, and they hit the building, and they all come apart and start attacking everybody. It's just fucking crazy. And that's when their teeth gnashing thing starts. Bam, 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 bam. And it's rapid. It's not like teeth gnashing, snap, snap. It's it's super fast.
Yeah, and it looks ridiculous.
Loud. But it's freaky. And then when they all get together and do it, it's 10 of them coming down the hall. That shit is fucking nuts. It sounds like machine gun fire coming at you. It's for me, it just felt unsettling and disorienting, and you're just it's overpowering. There's so much noise that you can't even think. It's just so loud. And there's it's just chaos. You're in there and you're you don't know what the fuck's going on. This one just split apart and opened its guts on this lady, and
which I didn't understand that
she's inside of it, but it's bent backwards and its head's all upside down. You're what the fuck is it's the House of Horrors. They went to hell. It's so disorienting. I thought it was confusing, but also awesome. And then Nicolas Cage has his last stand here. The brother and the girl
go back
and get back to the house, and then monsters attack there, and then that's where Nicolas Cage has his last stand. Blows up the house. The kids are in the kids pull a fucking
Indiana Jones.
They get in the fucking icebox to survive the explosion.
Yeah, I kind of like that scene too from the point of view where you keep seeing the flames kind of busting in, and they're
trying to hold it down.
Thrown out, they're trying to hold it down. But again, going back to these monsters, I guess maybe that was my difference. Is the difference I had with them. I find it more annoying watching the film than being scared of
it. Well, that's what I was getting at, right? With we should have had a handle on this. 15 years.
Yeah.
You can beat him with a baseball bat. At the end of the movie, these kids gear up and they get on their go-kart. We're going to go out here and fuck monsters up.
Yeah.
And you're you don't think, you're just a bunch of kids. You don't think there's, maybe there is. There's probably is. They probably get past this little grove and everyone's out there hanging out. Yeah, we've had this handled for a long time. Where the fuck have you been?
Yeah. They don't come here,
Yeah. Yeah. They've been out there fucking with you still. You still dealing with them? Damn, where have you been? Nicolas Cage is a bad dad. That's more or less probably what it's going to be.
If they ever make a sequel, you're probably right.
It's The Village.
Well, it's not even that. It's like Fallout, right? Remember when she came out of the bunker and it's like, well, no, people are living out here. Like, yeah, you've got mutated people and stuff, but there's also regular people living out here. They're living like shit, but they're living out here.
Yeah, like doing shit. It's not like a great life, but it's life. Like it's life, everybody's life. Like this is how it is.
Yeah. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Maybe that's what it is. It's like Fallout did it so much better. It's like
I always feel like these monsters when they're in big groups and it turns into end of the world stuff. It's like I could see this as like something that happened on like a company retreat on like a secluded island. Okay, but like when and then like the police show up and guns get involved and now we get a handle on the situation really quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just don't see these monsters as being that like.
She got a
they
shotgun.
Shoot them and they die.
Yeah, she got a shotgun and shot a bunch of them. And she even made that comment at the end. She's like, I've killed like 100 of these. You guys did nothing. You just blew up your house. That you did the easy job.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was like
basic explosions. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, they blew up the house, but it was it was a gas explosion. It was an explosion, but like, it wasn't a nuke. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a tactical bomb. It was a fucking, It was a missile. It was a gas explosion, and it wiped out a whole colony of these things. Like, we should, as a species, should be able to handle this. Like, yes, people are going to die. It might take a minute, right? But 15 years in, we better be on to some. If we don't have it figured out, they deserve to win.
Yeah, I agree.
We did it to ourselves.
We should have been way better. We have night battles. We could have gone in with tactical teams to take out these hives.
We have body armor that's stronger than what they were. What these creatures have. Like,
I guess that's what it was. My annoyance on this is just like I looked at these monsters and I'm like, yeah, they're creepy looking. It's weird, but are they scary?
I have to give it a shot every time a creature feature comes.
I know you love these. You love the creature features. I was actually hoping. I really thought this was going to be about werewolves. I really thought that these were going to be werewolves.
I'm going to squeeze one in this year somewhere. I don't know where.
I'm just telling you. I thought that's where we're getting. Especially when you saw that first shot with the hands. You saw like the nails, and I'm like, oh, these are werewolf people. That's what this is. That's what they're trying to break in because you saw the claw marks and everything.
I knew it was. There was a moment of hope, but no howls. So I didn't.
I get it. But maybe we just didn't see him. But I guess the scene that lost me completely to the high sidekick to the sidekick was that end scene when they were driving away on the golf cart and you saw the spinning monster rat king thing coming at them that was
on fire.
Yeah. And all she did was swing the shotgun and like knock them down and then they fell and just burned. Yeah. And I'm like, they were chasing you this whole time and like just them losing control of the rat king.
That did suck. Like she ended that with like a swing of the gun. But like, yes, agreed.
That's where I was like,
terrible resolution. But the visual that came before that of
it was crazy.
Giant ball of monsters on fire, rolling down the road, all roaring and clawing to get you, was incredible. Now, all they had to do was like make a sharp left and have them roll off of a fucking cliff or into something else, or maybe like they turn and there's like they set up this big Martell had set up this big wall of pikes and they just roll into it, something like that. Hitting them with the gun seemed it almost ruined it. It did ruin it, but the visual was still really, really good.
That's where I was like psychic. I was like,
really
I ended this. I was like psychic. No,
really good visuals, bad resolution.
Yeah. And killing Nicolas Cage. Sorry, psychic. Like
he didn't Nicolas Cage it up though. He was very subdued.
He was. Yeah. He did not have his wackiness to him. So all right. Well, there you go. Arcadian on Shudder. If you have Shudder, watch it. If not, it's on other means than HD. So. You could definitely find it out there. I'm sure it'll end up being somewhere else at some point. It's not the worst creature feature. We've seen some bad ones. It's not the best. I'll just leave it at that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Please let us know what you thought of Arcadian if you watched it. And this is Alone.
And this is Steven. Until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.